Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. I am your host, Richie, here with my guys, Window One. Welcome to the show, Mr. Daniel Nunez, diehard Philadelphia Eagles fan. Welcome.
Yes, proud to be here. Good to be here. I'm honored to be here in the show with the rest of you fellas. Diehard Eagles fan since I was like 5 years old. Yes, go Birds all day.
Pleasure to have you here. And just for the misconception, even during the season, guys, yes, indeed, Eagles and Giants fans do talk behind enemy lines. Window 3, my co-host, Mr. Idris Salam, a.k.a. Bosco from the Bronx.
That's right.
Window 4, Brett Bandick, Winter Haven, Florida. I might be linking up with you later for some din-din. I know you got that hookup at, the good chef's place. So, might be sliding through there, maybe enjoying a bit of the it's been a minute for an old-fashioned. I think today might be the day.
Same.
Quinton Moore, the mask, renting out Aaron Rodgers' dark retreat. He is consuming. He is just thinking about the gloom. This is a guy who always has something to say, and I'm happy he's here with us.
And yes, he is washing beer right now on his day off. He was supposed to be in Dallas, but he didn't make the trip. So
it's a good thing
he
we
decided to be a washing beer all weekend.
Hey, it's a good thing we didn't make that trip.
Yeah, I'd have been pissed. I was already mad with the Jet shit.
Yeah, I probably left after the first quarter.
Yeah, dog. After you went to the Jet game, I could understand that. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation unto itself. We actually saw Jet fans leave the game thinking it was over, but the Giants literally stole defeat from the jaws of victory. I wanted to slap myself in my own face. We're going to start with the NFC East. If you haven't already, please make it a point. Like and subscribe to the channel, the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast on YouTube.
All right.
Just bear with me. We're trying to get this banner up. It looks like my key might be slightly locked.
Which banner are you trying to get up?
Let's try to start it up with any banner that wants to cooperate with me. Let me go back to the banners.
Let me see if I can load it up.
Yeah, you might be able to on your side. We're going to start with the NFC East nonetheless. I don't need a picture in front of me to talk about them.
NFC East. Good.
We have the Philadelphia Eagles, Daniel's team, on a bye. They are enjoying currently the overall lead in the NFC. New York Football Giants coming off just another terrible Sunday. Quarterback ineptitude to the max. Dallas Cowboys in their position, solid wild card contender right now, and yes, a Super Bowl contender as well. Responding after an emotional loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Washington Commanders, it's weird. I feel like they should have a better record because I like what they're doing and I like what I see out of Sam Howell, out of UNC. But they lose to the Seattle Seahawks in a game that I personally believe they should have won.
Yeah.
We are having an issue with these banners. You noticed that, boys, right?
Yeah.
It's all good, baby. We can still wing it.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
We got it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if we can get these banners off the screen. They are definitely distracting me just a little.
Which one you want off the screen?
Well, for one, whatever's flying across isn't even for this week. Idris, we're on 10. It just says 10 on the actual banner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we might be confusing it by actually double-clicking. No bigs. Daniel, I want to start with you. You're new to the show. Obviously, your Philadelphia Eagles on the bye week. You did have an epic battle with the Cowboys just a week ago. You saw the Cowboys make light work of our New York Giants. What are your thoughts?
I was just say it was a disaster watching you guys, the Giants and the Cowboy game. It was just watching like a prop order team game. A prop order team could probably just beat the Giants right now.
Sad but true.
But talking about the last game between the Eagles and Cowboys, that was a game that had me on the edge of my seat. Dallas, I'm not gonna say Dak. It was in the game. It was in their hands actually. One thing about Philadelphia this year that has me is their secondary. They're playing soft.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen them play this soft in a long time. And surprisingly, we're 8-1, the best record in the league. And the reason why we have this best record in the league is our front four defense. Hassan Reddick has had about 6.5 sacks now.
Yep.
OG Brandon Graham comes down and sacks Dak, which I jumped off literally jumped off my seat. I'm like, let's go. Like, come on. Where the heck have you been all season? You know?
Yeah.
The Eagles are banged up. We know Jalen Hurts is playing with a messed up knee, but that man right now, in the last 2 games, hasn't threw a pick. Everybody's willing to talk about his interceptions, but nobody's willing to talk about his performance of what he's been doing. And also, too, A.J. Brown has 6 straight games of over 125 yards receiving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're so eager, and I'm saying fans, I'm not going to say, you know what we're talking about. They're just so eager to cut it down.
Mhm.
Like, this is the worst 8-1 team you've seen. The last time I checked, you have when it matters the most, anybody can pay for stats. We have high stats. What matters the most at the end is the W.
Right.
Last time I checked, the standings is what speaks itself. Yes,
I
we have a
gotta.
big.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about
Yeah.
that.
No. I was just saying. I agree.
We have a game coming up Monday Night Football next week against the Kansas City Chiefs,
That's going to be a classic.
which, in my opinion, is the game of the year for us. I don't think I've looked at the last remaining games. We got a games against the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Winers, and then we got the Cowgirls again. We're gonna go into Dallas, and that's one thing. All that Dallas said, oh well, we won, we beat the Giants, and yeah, we won the Super Bowl. Blah, blah, blah. No,
Yeah.
you haven't beat any top caliber teams. You get blown up by the Niners 42-10. You lose to Arizona 29-14, and then you lose to us by 5. But the team have been under 500.
I'll be honest with you, Daniel. In my opinion, even in defeat, I believe that the character-defining moment of the Cowboys season this year was actually losing to you guys in a close one because, in my opinion, I feel it's a game they probably should have won. But, that's the way the battles go sometimes. Referees were terrible on both sides. I think we could agree on that much. And I do want to give a shout-out to a couple of Cowboy fans who are keeping it in perspective after a drubbing, so to speak. Keith Woolridge, Sylvia Sneed, James D. Bell. They're like, this is not the kind of game where you poke your chest out. And I respect that because you got to keep it in perspective. Dallas fans, I'm sure, are very familiar with the uncomfortable feeling of knowing how talented they are, but constantly dying in round 2. And I do think the Cowboy fans know that this is the potential for a special season. Also because of the fact that you guys, you made a good point, don't necessarily have the lights out defense that you had just a short year ago, while you still have one of the absolute best offenses behind that phenomenal O-line. But I see the Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Cowboys, and 49ers as the 3 teams in the conference, whereas a Detroit Lions, a Seattle Seahawks, a surprise Minnesota Vikings, who I got to give them props, the way Josh Dobbs is making things happen right now. But I believe that those are your big 3. And if Dallas wants to win that elusive 6th trophy, they're going to have to go through probably both Philadelphia and San Francisco. And it sets up for some really good theater. As our Giants go, just a lost season. I mean, you're talking about injuries galore. Andrew Thomas just came back. Now he's out again. God only knows how long he's going to be gone. Daniel Jones out for the year. Tyrod Taylor, if you respect him, I wouldn't even put him in that mess right now.
Well, he's on IR.
Yeah. Tommy DeVito from Goodfellas fame.
Yeah.
Mommy still makes his bed. Not his fault. But take off number 15. That belongs to Haas. I don't feel comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Injuries galore. I look for bright spots in lost seasons. I think Kayvon Thibodeau is emerging as a legitimate pass rusher in this league. I like what I'm seeing out of Deonte Banks week in and week out. The kid is continuing to get better. X is up for a contract extension. I think he's going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
But, the Saquon thing, him missing a month, he comes back. DJ gets hurt. Brian Dable out coaching himself. Sorry, Quentin, go ahead.
I think X is out because the dissension. I said this weeks ago.
Mhm.
There's a dissension in that locker room. Long before these cracks appeared. And I noticed it when I went to the Jet game. They didn't show everything that happened on the sidelines on TV. Of course not, But we were sitting behind the Giants bench, and we started noticing when Dayball would go over to some of his players, they just walk away from him.
That's not a good look.
And Dayball would go over to talk to his coaches. They like the body language suggested they were in total disagreement. And I said, and I was talking with my friend Liza. I was like, I think he lost his locker room, and she kind of agreed with me on this. So I was like, I went in with the premise. I was like, it's a lost season anyway. Dayball's losing this locker room, and the cracks really appeared last night when they showed the disconnect on TV to the entire nation of how Slayton was like getting in the face of one of the coordinators and getting in the face of one of the teammates, and Sterling Shepard's coming in trying to mediate. This team is disconnected. I've been saying it for weeks. They've had this disconnect for weeks. It's really coming to the horizon now. Dayball has lost his team. I argue with one of the hype men for the Giants, Chuck Knox. I argued with him, and I called him out.
Yeah.
I said, Chuck, you don't know what you're talking about. This team is in disarray. He was like, no, they're not, Q. They're not in disarray. Yes,
What
they
is he
are.
looking at?
Right. Because he's one of them fans that have to have the blue glasses on. I said, bro, take that shit off. See things the way they are. This team is ass. Okay, let's be honest. Let's be frank.
Yeah.
This team is pure caca bullshit.
Check it out, Q. You know what I call it? Delusional.
Right,
Delusional.
Right. I told him, I don't know what flavor of crack you're smoking.
Yeah.
But put that shit down, man, because this team is garbage.
Check it out. I agree 100%. I don't think X is out because of Wink Martindale. I think he'll stick around. I hope he does.
I think he's going to get franchised. Sorry to overtalk you, Idris. I think that's the way they go, and Saquon actually gets a deal now. Go ahead, Idris.
I think so. Yeah, I believe the same thing, but I do believe that the team is in disarray because the play call, like I put on my wall today, the play calling this year does not look like nothing he called last year.
Yep.
It's like a whole. It's like we went back to Joe Judge that last year he was in there when they fought. It's like. The offense is so vanilla. Last year we were taking chance. We didn't always go for it on fourth down like we do now. I'm like, why aren't we just taking the points? But we were always doing something to throw the defenses off. To like, okay, what are these guys doing? This year it's like, it looks like Joe Judge. I'm like, where's this creativity we used to have? We're not throwing the ball downfield. It's like,
dude,
I'm like, wow.
When I saw us get the ball after we stopped Dallas at the goal line.
Oh, don't talk about that play. I know it's one you're talking about.
Yeah. You 1 yard line. You got 99 yards to go upfield. You gonna run the ball knowing they keying in on Saquon?
Bro, like, do you want to put him back on injured reserve? That's
right.
I'm looking at 2-6. Like, I'm like, go down. Just take the safety. Just take the
safety. The thing about it, the one play that we ran after we stopped Dallas and they stopped us, I was like, even at the setup, I'm like, we gave the guy the ball. I'm like, play action or just get the 3.
Right.
Just get the 3.
Yes.
Yes.
You're
playing against Dallas. Dallas is going to score. Get the 3. We need points. Get the 3.
Well, punt on third. Just punt on third down, bro. I'm not even trying to be an asshole, but when I see the ineptitude, and I think you were the one who just said Joe Judge, it's embarrassing. This is an iconic franchise. I'm not saying that we've got to have the most explosive offense in the league. Q was making a good point yesterday on all his socials, how in the Jet game they didn't let DeVito throw at all, and now they're not going to let him even test if you could make a 50-50 catch or if you could take a chance. Like, You can't play scared, even when you're not supposed to win. You've got what message are you sending your ball club? Is my question.
Right now, to time, it's evaluation.
And I know they're in flux. In a way, it's like you want to tank. In a way, it's like you want to compete. In a way, it's like you want to know if Brian Dable knows where his testicles are. Like it's a lot of confusion right now. But to Q's point, what he witnessed as a fan at the game, and just what you're witnessing in body language, if you watch it on the eye test on the tube, right now the New York Football Giants don't have a fucking identity. Can we agree on that?
I've said that for weeks. This team does not have an identity. Okay, when you think of the 86 Giants, who do you think of? Defense, right?
Defense.
Absolutely.
Just
okay.
don't lose
the 90 Giants, who do you think of?
Defense, running game, right? And defense.
Just don't lose the game for us.
Right. Okay. 2007 Giants, who do you think of?
Running game and defense. Earth, wind, fire, little Eli Manning.
2011, same thing.
Helmet catch.
Same thing. Am I correct?
Same thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Just don't lose the game.
This edition, and last year's edition really had no identity. Okay. They got fortunate with a couple of games here and there and should have gone 10-7, technically really 11-6, because they had Minnesota on the ropes.
The sick thing, Q, the sick thing is if you go back before the Raider game, this is a 4-4 team. A 4-4 team. If you get two yards, a yard against the Bills, a yard against the Jets. That's a 4-4 team. And don't get it twisted. They would still have these last two losses. And I'm not saying it's something to do a backflip or get happy about.
Yeah.
But that's how fickle winning and losing is in this league.
That team would have been more competitive. At 4-4, I would have been a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, just tear the whole shit down because it's a shit show.
It's time to shut down guys that have value. I'll be honest with you. If I'm the New York Giants and you want to secure getting a top 3 pick, just get everybody up from the practice squad, and 50-50 injuries of guys that you deem as assets for your future, like the Kayvon Thibodeaus, like the Andrew Thomases, guys that you don't want getting hurt, shut them down. Secure that top 1 or 2 pick. And I'm going to get pissed if we beat the Patriots. I'm going to get pissed if we beat the Commanders because there's no purpose for it at this point. I'm not one to lay down, and I have a lot of pride.
We'll beat the Patriots.
I don't want to. I can't believe I'm even saying that.
I'm not going to lie. I want us to win because I don't want to be in the basement.
No, I don't want to be in the basement.
We ain't getting out of the basement. We ain't getting out of that. That's something I'll accept.
As long as Washington is in our division, we have a chance.
We'll see. We'll see.
I'm going to speak on, that one, I'm going to speak about Washington real quick. I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Give me a comment about the Washington Commanders. That Commanders team is not a 4-6 team right now. They should at least be 5-5 or 6-4 or 6-3.
I tend to agree.
Sam freaking Howell. I mean, I've seen both games when they played Philly, and I was like, the first game, how the hell does the Eagles defense allow them to score with like 3 or 5 seconds left? Then they force overtime.
Hey, fellas, I got to head out. I'm gonna try to pick up in the car. But if not, I'm listening.
Okay.
Later, brother.
Y'all. Heard that, Idris.
Yeah. What? Shouts out,
later, buddy.
Man, but we still don't like y'all. Hey, thanks for coming on the show, though. For real, man.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Love it. Thank you, guys.
Right,
thank you.
Come back later, y'all.
Yes, sir. So about Sam Howell, I mean, that man right there, that's if he keeps it up, that's their franchise quarterback right there.
I tend to agree. I mean, the kid has really made a pro ascension, and that's why, to a level, when I think about our future, I'm like, damn, Drake May wouldn't be a bad look. But with all our ineptitude, I actually want them to go for Marvin Harrison and worry about quarterback next year, because while there are decent quarterbacks in this draft, I don't necessarily think this is like the game-changing kind of class that we saw with Rivers, Eli, and Big Ben.
I disagree. Because, you have to get that number 1 position straightened out, which is quarterback. Daniel Jones is not the answer.
I tend to agree there.
Never has been, never will be. He's a backup quarterback at best. Okay? Drake May, I like the kid. I watched Michael Penix this weekend heavily.
His injury history worries me.
Yeah,
That's what worries me with
that's
Penix.
the only thing that worries me. But this kid is Michael Vick-esque. It's either going to be between Penix and Drake May. Caleb Williams, I don't want him. He's not going to be a Giant. No matter how much this stupid fan base, and I call these fans stupid. They're idiots. They don't know shit. They think, they don't know the difference between a touchdown and touching themselves. Okay? And when you
Makes
talk
sense.
to them, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? They don't even watch college football. Okay? They try to they want to argue with me, somebody who watches college. I watch college religiously. I'm a UGA fan, by the way. Hardcore UGA. Been hardcore since Herschel Walker days. And I was like, do you actually watch college football, or do you follow what they say on NFL Network or ESPN and all them other talking birds on there? No disrespect to Philadelphia when I say birds, but I'm talking about these talking heads.
Right. Yeah, I got you.
Or do you follow what these fucking talking heads talk about? Because these talking heads don't know shit. Okay? College football is where it all starts. Okay? The two quarterbacks I want out of this draft in the first round, with our first pick, I either want Michael Penix or Drake May. The second round, go get your offensive lineman. You have two picks in the offense in the second round.
Get Kayvon some help.
Yes, you can get that in the third round. But your first priority on this team to get that leader in the locker room, the quarterback. That is the most essential position on the field, period. Okay? Then, second round, you got two picks. I think you got like a 35th, something like that, and a 52nd. Go out and get your offensive guard and your offensive tackle. Get the right tackle with the first pick, and then the offensive guard with the second pick. Get Evan Neal, either move him inside or get him the fuck off this team. I'm tired of watching that turnstile. I'm sick and tired of watching this dude get beat worse than a kid's stepfather beating him for bad grades. Okay? I'm sick and tired of seeing Evan Neal, this dude, the way his feet are lined up, I'm like, yeah, his feet are misaligned. He's about to get beat. And every time I see it, he's getting beat. This dude, I got no words for Evan Neal. He's got to get moved inside, or you got to get him the fuck off this team. Either way, I don't want him at right tackle. Period. Then you got to get the left guard position situated. Ben Bredeson? No, get him the fuck off my team.
I feel more comfortable with the veteran Justin Pugh there.
Right.
Oh my. Get that man at Xanax. But I understand because I'm with him. AFC East, we're gonna slide it.
But boys, listen, I just want to say, number one, welcome to the show, Eagles fan. This is what you get, especially around this football season. You're going to have this Monday Giants rant. I enjoy it, me personally. I love the intel. I love the enthusiasm. This is why we're so passionate about our teams. And I love what I'm hearing from Q. He's hitting it.
He tells the truth.
He's hitting it where it needs. He should be the spokesman for your media coverage. For the Giant fan base.
There's too much. There's too much sugar. There's too much sugar that they try to throw on top of the first turd.
Yeah, no, and Q.
This fan base. Sorry about that, Brett. Sorry about that. But let me say this. This fan base, I don't deal with this fan base too much. I'll take pictures with them and shit like that, and hey, how you doing? Shake hands, it shades social media platforms and all that bullshit. But as far as talking with them one-on-one, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
No, it's gotten to a point where it's kind of embarrassing because when you think about what Giant fans were generations ago versus now, it's a different caliber. And I'm not shitting on everybody because that's not fair, and I'm not going to do that. But what I am saying is there's a lot of validity to what you're saying. AFC East, I want to let Brett have an opportunity to rip on his team's transgressions because I know that he's pissed off too.
Yeah.
Dolphins relaxing at home. Patriots and Jets suffer from quarterback ineptitude. Bills host Broncos in potential shootout. I'm going to give you my quick prediction. Buffalo 27, Denver 23. Josh Allen comes from behind. That Buffalo defense, similar to what Daniel was worried about with his Eagles, does not put teams away. That's why Denver hangs. Buffalo will win, though. Bretsky, the floor is yours. I want to hear what you have to say about your New England Patriots and what the future holds for your guys.
Let's see. Where do I start? The offensive play calling, the decision making, the losing. We're on the same page with losing the locker room. You know, the benching of J.C. Jackson before they made this trip out to Europe. You know, just the lack of confidence. Like I said, the play calling. You know, not being able to score points. Our defense is keeping us in games, but it's just we're not there and we're not close to it. Get rid of fucking Mac Jones. I'm sick of seeing this guy in the fucking field. You know, Zappy should have started the whole freaking game, or Malik Cunningham. I don't care.
Bailey Zappy or Mike Zappy? Both of them?
No,
Bailey Zappy.
Bailey Zappy.
I think Mike
Bailey
Zappy right now would probably give you a better chance to win than Mac Jones.
You know, I don't like the way this team is vibing right now. You know, there's all these rumors about Belichick leaving, yada yada. I mean, that's been a discussion.
I think it's more than rumor, personally.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Offer him a front office position to get him off the sideline because with Josh McDaniel being fired from Vegas,
yes,
he's probably going to be the heir apparent since he knows the system.
He does know that system.
Possibly, but you everybody knows that Josh McDaniels is not a good head coach. He's a great coordinator. He's a great coordinator, but as far as being a head coach, he's still not ready. He's still Bill O'Brien has been a head coach. He coached Deshaun Watson out in Houston.
And you can make an argument that he wore the two hats better than Bill did, at least in more recent memory. On his way out, he kind of screwed them a little, but I think he did all right with the whole head coaching.
He did all right. He did good. He actually beat Belichick head up.
But I wouldn't rule out the son of Bill, Steven.
No, I wouldn't.
The dude who was Florida man.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule that possibility out either. It's frustrating, and Richie, we're both 2-8. You know, we are tied. Like in history, we're just I don't know what it is. We're just like we're meant to be together regarding history. We're both 2-8. We're both shitty. Our quarterbacks suck. Injuries galore. You know what I mean? Our coaches are not doing what they're supposed to do.
That's an understatement.
And it's just, oh my God, it's horrible. It's horrible. You know, this season is a wash. I just hope that nobody else gets hurt. You know, at this point. You know, I really hope nobody else gets hurt at this point. Period. I hope Stevenson doesn't get hurt. You know, don't even bring back Matthew Judon and Christian Gonzalez. They are the future of this team, especially Christian Gonzalez. You know, keep them out. I'm not going to say flop on purpose, but don't get anybody else hurt. I don't want to see anything.
In the off season, you don't want to see assets going down. It's kind of like when Q was talking about that stupid draw play to Saquon. Like the kid's body hasn't been through enough. What are you trying to get him killed in the end zone by 11 Dallas dudes? I mean, you got some heavy hitters on that Dallas defense.
That play reminded me of Joe Judge.
Yes,
that's why I kind of like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, punt on third if you're gonna do that bullshit.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Yesterday's game got a little exciting. The last 4.5 minutes.
Of course.
You know, I love the whole fake spike, 40-yard chuck down the field. exciting to watch, but Jesus Christ.
But
I
it was
get
a
it.
winnable
You
game.
know,
though.
you had 0
It
timeouts.
was winnable.
It was
That game-
absolutely
that
a
game was
winnable
winnable.
game. Or we could have, we could have tied it. We could have done anything. You know what I mean? But I get it. You know, he was trying to catch, the defense off guard. They didn't fall for it. But it sucks to end a game like that. And Zappy should have started the whole game anyway. He just vibes much better with the
And
offense.
this is a
They click better.
conversation going back to last year too, Brett.
Yeah, I know. I don't. It's almost like Robert Saleh defending Zach Wilson. Belichick is doing the same shit with Mac Jones. He is doing the same shit with this kid.
And I understand that it's not easy because it's like you got to protect your players and always be the front man for heat. That's what being a head coach is. But I agree with you, Brett, because Zappy, there's no reason why he should have waited this long. My only answer is similar to the Giants. They're trying to just make sure they fortify high draft position.
Yeah.
And when you look at what the Jets have going on, they are in quarterback hell as well, because while Aaron Rodgers continues to heal, the clock is ticking on the Jets if he's going to come back with enough time to make a legitimate playoff run. They have a top-tier defense.
I agree. But if they lose another game, Rodgers is not coming back.
Right.
Not necessarily.
They
Because
lose another game, he ain't coming back.
they could still sneak in through the back door. It depends. But
there's a lot of shit that has to happen in order for them to sneak in through the back door.
very frustrating.
A lot
that happens.
Especially the way the AFC North is set up right now. You know what I mean? There's going to be 2 teams coming out of the AFC. It's going to be Buffalo and Miami coming out of the AFC East.
I wouldn't co-sign Buffalo yet. And the reason why I wouldn't shut down Aaron Rodgers yet is because similar to a couple of other teams that we're trying to figure out if they're contending or pretending, the Miami Dolphins haven't beaten anybody yet this year either. Every time
I know.
They fall back.
They almost have the same shit that Dallas is going through. You know, Dallas hasn't beaten a team above 500.
And
Same thing with Miami.
And while I agree with you, Brett, about how powerful the AFC North is, I'm not convinced that the Jets, if they start winning a couple of these close games, can't jump everybody, because that AFC East is still very for the taking.
It's open, but I don't see it happening.
I'm not convinced Buffalo's going to the playoffs.
They literally lose one more game. Rodgers is not going to come back. He's not.
I don't agree.
I just don't see it.
I don't agree, because you're assuming that Miami's a 13 or 14 or 13 or 12 win team, and I'm not buying that shit, because they can't beat anybody good. They have a great offense. Mike McDaniel's done a good job of reasserting the running game, which worked in San Fran, but they're still not scaring anybody.
Rich, Rich, I'm not to agree with you. I'm going to agree with you on this, because this coming weekend is the Raiders in Miami.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you right now, with the Raiders, they surprised the hell out of me these last 2 games. You see a totally different. I'm sorry to jump off divisions, but the Dolphins have a big game. I call it a big game, because if the Raiders keep playing the way they're playing,
accountability, sir. Antonio Pierce is bringing that there.
Watch out. The Raiders will sneak in as a wild card team.
And they still got to pick. Yep. And Antonio Pierce is going to be the next head coach.
Because they're going to learn their mistake from not going with Bisaccia.
Yeah, I think that's who we need. That's who we need on our sidelines, Bisaccia. I'd rather have him as OC instead of Kafka.
That ain't Kafka, dude.
So Brent, with the Patriots, I watched a little towards the end of that Colts yesterday game, and I was even like, damn, this is a really close ass game. I'm like 10-6.
Yeah.
Time still to come down and get a touchdown, but when Mac Jones threw that interception, I'm like, dude, you're on the 5-yard line and you're gonna throw a soft ass. It's like he intentionally just tossed it.
There was nobody within 8 yards of Gesicki.
Oh, right.
Nobody within 8 yards, and he underthrew it.
They covered it up with the zone, and I'm like, this dude can't read zone. He can't read zone. He don't see that there's 5 people back there and there's 3 receivers back there, 5 on 3 who's the advantage go to? It goes to the 5-man normally, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he also can't read a freaking playbook either.
No, he can't.
No, big facts, and it's frustrating because at this level, you say to yourself, when you're in this position, what else should you be prioritizing over that outside of family? We're gonna move this to the NFC North. These banners are so stubborn. Internet has been dying out here with these storms. Patterson kicks the Lions to a dramatic road dub. Packers show fight against the Steelers, but fall. The real story of this week, besides the Detroit Lions still flirting with are they elite, got to be Josh Dobbs. You want to talk about a guy who's maximizing an opportunity.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins goes down. This dude is always the subject of ridicule. He didn't even really know the playbook coming into Minnesota, and he has reeled off 2 very impressive wins. Last year, everybody on this panel, anyone who was on this show, called this team Paper Tigers. This year, the Minnesota Vikings are actually showing quite a bit of testicular fortitude.
I agree. I think Josh Dobbs coming. Go ahead, Brent. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead, dude. Go ahead. You're good.
I think Josh Dobbs coming from Arizona, and then I was even kind of skeptical about him coming into Minnesota after the quarterback Cousins went down with the ACL tear, and I was like, oh, this is it. I was one. That's it. The demise is over. That's it. The Viking season is done. But then Dobbs' last 2 games came out where I was like, oh, what?
And
but
now
then
they get JJ back.
Yeah. Then there it is. Then he's also gonna have, besides having T.J. Hawkinson as tight end, doing what he did yesterday over having 128 yards, about 100 something yards between catching. You throw Justin Jefferson in that mix, Dobbs got weapons, and watch out for the Minnesota Vikings. They might just take the. I don't see the Lions doing anything in the playoffs. They'll get eliminated probably in the second round. I don't see them. They're trying to hype up the Lions. Well, we've been worth the shit for so long. Now, we're 7-2, and we have a chance to take them on. Do not forget who the hell's ahead of you all. Philly's right there. You got to get. It's like I said, to get to the Super Bowl, you got to get to my Eagles. That's simple as that. San Francisco, I don't see them doing crap at all. To me, they came back.
I disagree with you there, and we're going to have that conversation.
Yeah. So the way I see this, the Minnesota Vikings are kind of like the sleeping giants at the moment, because they're like, everybody's like, oh yeah, he got 2 games. Oh, but you not see this kid open up. He runs. Not only can he throw, but kick it up with his feet. I mean, He was hurt in the end zone yesterday when one of the touchdown plays he did. I was like, whoa, but he was already doing that already in Arizona already.
And something that'll get overlooked now that he's in the playoff picture, as opposed to being in a dead season with the Cardinals, is that he has already defeated the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, I give the credit to Jonathan Gannon because of all his time with your organization, knowing the weaknesses and the intricacies of playing a pretty good team. But this is the thing, man. The Minnesota Vikings might not win the North, but I actually think they pose a bigger threat to the elite, your team, the Niners, possibly the Cowboys, more so than the Lions do. While I think the Lions are well coached, I still don't see them as scary on defense outside of a couple of players. I love Aiden Hutchinson. But no, I don't think the Lions are built to stay long in the playoffs. I do agree with you, Daniel. I don't agree with your 49er take because they kind of were asleep for a solid month. And I will admit that with Debo being hurt for a little bit there, their offense was definitely stymied. But what I've seen that defense do in road games, in Duval, in Pittsburgh, that team is for real. I do believe that. And the way that they totally shit on the Dallas Cowboys, I do think the 49ers are for real. But it still goes through Philly, to your point.
No, it does. It does. But I love what Minnesota's doing. You know, they're very quietly sneaking their way into that playoff picture without the best receiver in the league. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's fun to watch. I love seeing Dobbs doing what he's doing. But as far as the San Fran, yes, I agree with Richie. San Fran is built for the playoffs. They are a playoff team. And now the addition of Chase Young, you know, Debo's going to get healthier. McCaffrey's going to do his thing as this it's going to be another NFC conference matchup between the Niners and the Eagles. I see it again.
Barring a Cowboy upset against somebody in round two, which I wouldn't.
Yeah,
which I wouldn't.
Yeah, but without Diggs for the Cowboys, they're not going to go past the second round. Losing Diggs is probably the worst thing that could have happened to them. Because you had all three layers of that defense lined up, ready to go. Diggs is out for the year. That's going to hurt them the worst come playoff time. That is absolutely going to hurt them.
I think it's about matchups. In the event that the Dallas Cowboys play the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm already predicting that they will play 3 times this year. And I said this earlier in the show. Although Dallas lost to Daniel's Eagles, I do believe that they showed a lot of fortitude in that game, where in previous years, Dallas teams didn't show that extra bit of guts. And because of the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles do have a little bit of leakage in that secondary, and now you have an emerging Brandon Cooks, who after half the season is starting to look like he actually belongs in that offense. Super adaptable player. He's played on so many teams, but always manages to get a legitimate playing time spot. I'm not counting out Dallas just yet. It goes without saying Philly is supposed to be the favorite. They have been more consistent. They have been doing it more consistently in recent time. But if there's a wild card that could kind of sneak it, Minnesota and Dallas do fit the bill. We shall see, though. And go ahead, Brett. Go ahead.
Well, Detroit. I'm actually going to root for them. They're a big underdog team. Yes, they're 7-2. I love what Campbell's doing. He's, if anything, he might possibly be the coach of the year after the season. But I'm actually going to root for Detroit.
I don't see him beating up Minnesota's coach.
No, I don't. But the thing is, I'm going to root for him. Once again, I don't see them going past the second round. Their defense is not there. Their offense can score a shit ton of points. Don't get me wrong, but come playoff time, if you have to travel on the road playing in a game of weather and elements, I don't see them scoring a lot of points. It sucks to say because I actually am going to root for Detroit, but I don't see them getting past San Fran or Philly or Dallas.
Me neither.
Yeah, so but it's still going to be
they're going to beat the Vikings. I'm not convinced if they play their division rivals. It don't matter whose house it is.
Hey, it don't
really matter. It's the same kind of stadium setup. Minnesota, in my opinion, this year has been more battle tested than people are really realizing right now, especially when you start 0-3. And what have they won? 6 of the last 7 after that, or something like that? 5 of the last 6. That's impressive.
Hugh, what you got in this, man?
Well, I think that with Minnesota, with them getting Josh Dobbs, I love that kid. That kid is like something special.
Coming right back, fellas.
And I would love if the Giants were smart enough, which they aren't, to have him as a backup quarterback, a viable backup quarterback. Now, they have a chance of getting into the wild card. I don't think the Packers are going to make it. I think Minnesota and Detroit are the 2 that's coming out of the North.
Yep.
Detroit's probably going to win that division. They're playing excellent ball. They have completely bought into Dan Campbell's system, and they're fun to watch.
They are.
They're fun to watch. They're very fun to watch.
Yeah, that Detroit Chargers game reminded me of that Rams Chiefs game a couple years ago.
Football. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Identical the way that game played out, the offenses, everything. It was a very identical game. I loved watching it. I absolutely loved watching it.
Right.
I mean, now going to the Steelers now, because I seen here you guys about the Steelers when they play the Packers. Pittsburgh 6-3. I mean, their record. I mean, there's games they shouldn't even won, but all of a sudden they won, and I have a heavy heart with Steelers because my dad was a diehard Steelers fan, and the way I became an Eagles fan, we were watching the Steelers-Eagle game back in 1986, and already Reggie White was already playing with Philly already, and Randall
Rest in
Cunningham.
peace.
I think that's when y'all had Jerome Brown. Am I correct?
Yes, and Randall Cunningham was the quarterback for Philly.
Yep.
My favorite all-time Eagle player though is number 88, Urban Fryer.
Good player.
Yeah.
Very
Irving
good player.
Okay. I mean that man. So Pittsburgh is sentimental. It's a thing for me because I've seen how back in the day the way the Steelers played. And if you have to look at it, Tomlin never had since he's been coaching the Steelers. He's never had a losing record.
That's right.
Losing season, yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
incredible.
You look at Pittsburgh right now with Pickett. It's Pickett. Is there Pickett or Pickett the quarterback? And you're looking like, damn, like that Packers. Thank you, Brett. You look at that game yesterday against Green Bay. That was a good game. That game could have went either way.
Yes, sir.
But it's the Steelers defense that stepped up to the plate at the end of the game, and they won that game.
And they've been doing that all year, compensating for a quarterback who I wouldn't say it's bad quarterback play. I think it's like learning on the job. And because Tomlin has such character-defined guys in that locker room, he is like the quintessential example of how not to ever lose a locker room. Because one thing that I give that organization credit for, going all the way back to Chuck Noll to the current times, they have a culture that will not be broken. No matter what coach, whether it's Cowher handing it over to Mike Tomlin, Chuck Noll, who had the 70s version of those guys. They have a great culture, and that's why they are always relevant, even when they're not the most talented. Now, I do want to ask the panel this before we get out of here. Last year, I think without question, the two best divisions in football were the AFC East and the NFC East. This year, I think the AFC North, without question, leads the way.
Yes.
This is a division where the fourth place team going into this week is actually the Bengals. And I consider the Bengals a Super Bowl contender now that Joe Burrow is a little more healthy and they're starting to get on the same page. Number one, who wins this division? And number two, is this division, I mean the entire division, all four of them going to the playoffs?
It wouldn't surprise me if all four went to the playoffs. I still see the Bengals making a run, even after the loss this weekend. I mean, it's Joe Cool. He's good. They're gonna get Higgins back. It's kind of hard to count them out, and I still think they're gonna win that division. I think Baltimore is gonna fall off a cliff.
Hell, I think Cleveland is a sleeper. Cleveland.
Yeah, dude. Zappy. I got to shout him out on that one. He said in the beginning of the year, they have a championship caliber defense, and I'm with him on that.
They do. And during our preview, I mean, guys, this was the most difficult division to predict. I mean, we knew that going into the season. So it really doesn't surprise me if all four teams get in. It would not shock me at all.
Yeah. The thing is, the sleeper team in the AFC North is Cleveland.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because what I saw yesterday, I watched that game yesterday. Baltimore had that game in hand by halftime. They were blowing the doors off Cleveland. All of a sudden, Deshaun Watson woke the fuck up and guided this team from a 3-touchdown deficit to victory, right? So that's telling you Baltimore lost that game more than Cleveland won it. In all honesty.
They did the same shit last year too.
Yeah.
I mean, the first 7 games of the season, they had leads for like 4 out of those 7 games, and they blew it.
Yeah, and they shit the bed. They shit the bed, and that's going to come back. And this is why Baltimore won't go anywhere. Will not make a deep playoff run. They won't make a deep playoff run because they can't maintain leads.
I agree. 100%.
It's got to be concerning because of the sheer fact that, you know, when you think that Harbaugh is got the second most seniority in that division as a coach outside of Mike Tomlin, This is not the kind of shit that's supposed to happen. That Indy loss earlier in the year, that should have never happened. You can track it back to last year, the Kayvon Thibodeau strip sack win / Julian Love pick. That should have never happened. It was poetic because they got away with a touchdown when the play clock expired, but that's neither here nor there.
Yep.
That shouldn't have happened. And when I look at who's remaining in this division, I actually agree with you, Brett, that if somebody's going to fall out of it, it might be Baltimore. And this isn't based on talent, because if we're basing it on talent, Pittsburgh's supposed to not make it. But I will not count Coach Tomlin out basically ever. So I'm with you, Brett. If somebody's going to fall out, even though they are the first place team, it's the Baltimore Ravens, because that's how tight this division is. To Q's point, the Browns are undeniably the Cinderella team out of these guys, the unexpected team out of these guys that nobody expected to sit at the table. And, Deshaun Watson, prior to all his legal issues, was a legitimate superstar in this league. He is gradually getting back to where he was.
Yeah.
But my concern for him is that shoulder. He's constantly dinged up.
Have they had a bye week yet?
Not to my recollection.
No.
I don't think they have. We'll see what they're made of, once they have a bye week and they can actually rest up. But that whole AFC North, man, it's fun to watch. And to see where it plays out, but I can't count out Joe Cool and what this guy does in the playoffs. It's hard to go against the guy. It really is. The guy's got freaking ice in his veins, man.
Before we get out of here, we're going to do a little detour on some of the plans, because I think that we have covered the league rather well. But for the sake of humor,
Right.
I do want to hit on this before we leave. Oh, this is fun.
Oh, boy. What do we got?
For those of you who don't know the rules of Start Bench Cut, I give everybody about 90 seconds to tell me why they're giving me the answer they're giving me. I kind of have an answer in my own mind, and whoever's closer to my answer usually gets the dub. Start Bench Cut, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, any Giants fans. What I mean by any Giants fans is like basically any quarterback, because right now the two starters for the Giants are actually watching the games. That's why I put any Giants fans. Q, you're up first, 90 seconds. Then I'm going to pass it.
Start Zach Wilson, bench Mac Jones, and cut all these goddamn Giants fans that don't know what the fuck they're watching. Cut them.
And Tyrod and Daniel Jones do count as Giant fans right now because they are spectators.
They are spectators. Yeah, get rid of them. I don't want them. Don't need them. I'm sick of going to games and watching the air come out of that stadium, out of that air conditioned ass stadium, out of that carrier looking air conditioner stadium. But yeah, get rid of them. I'd start Zach Wilson. I'd cut Mac Jones. Mac Jones was never really a good quarterback, even when he was with Alabama. He never really
5-star athletes everywhere.
Right. He never moved the needle for me when he was with Alabama. But the Giants fans, they gotta go. Get them out of here. They don't know shit. They are social media bravado. They talk all this shit on social media. Don't know what the fuck they're watching. They don't even watch college football, so I discount them.
Mr. Nunez, you're up.
I will start Zach Wilson, bench Mac Jones, and also cut all the Giants fans as well. I have to agree with a lot of what Q had to say. Zach Wilson, he's still young. I mean, he's barely coming in. I think that the kid has a lot to prove, if not this year, maybe next year. Because we know Rodgers ain't going to be there for a long time, so he's about to retire. We know that. And him and Garrett Wilson, Zach Wilson and Garrett Wilson, they are a good combination. I mean, I seen yesterday the way Zach was throwing that football, man. I was just like underarming, and he was zipping them. I was like, woo!
He showed me some guts in that Giant game in the rain, even though that game was a shit show and Q was a witness to it. He did show me a little something the way he drove them down the field.
Yep.
Yeah, and as for Mac Jones, Brad, I'm sorry. The dude's got to go. The dude's sorry. He
There's
sucks.
nothing to apologize about. Like how do you choose between 3 bowls of shit?
If anybody,
You know what I mean?
if anybody
So-
should apologize to Brett, it should be the Patriot front office.
Shit,
Yeah, so-
you taste one, and you taste the shit. You taste each bowl, and whichever is the sweetest is the one you go with. It's still
Yeah.
shit, but you know,
Yeah.
you still if you gotta eat a bowl of shit, put some sugar
That-
on the shit and make it palatable.
At least
Little
hot
pepper.
sauce.
Yeah, a little pepper, salt,
Yeah.
something, and hold your nose while you eat the shit.
In the words of Eli Manning, I put that shit on everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know that-
Anything that you want to add? Anything that you
So-
want to add before we get out of here? By the way, guys, great job.
I got to do my best. I got to do mine. Hold up,
I
I'm not
know
done yet.
I didn't say you were done. I'm gonna give
Yeah.
you the last second, but I'm just giving the guys for a second. I want to say good job, guys, with this internet issue. We keep coming in and coming out. It was a little bit challenging, but I want to say I think you guys did a great job considering the weather situation outside. Bretsky, you're up.
Yeah, I agree with both of them on cutting any Giants fan just because Dorney is included in the in that conversation. Fuck Dorney, he's a piece of shit. I love you. I'm gonna bench Zach Wilson, and I'm gonna start Mac and Cheese. And there's one reason why I'm doing this. Only one reason. Mac Jones has a playoff appearance. Zach Wilson does not.
Are you talking
Mac
about
Jones
Mac
had a-
Jones from the Patriots, or are you
Yes.
talking about Mike Jones
has-
from Swishahouse?
No, he has a playoff appearance. He has
He said
a
Mike
playoff
Jones.
appearance.
Switch house.
Granted,
Mike Jones,
granted,
the telephone number guy.
granted, we got
Hero.
smacked by Buffalo. Granted, we got smacked by Buffalo, but Mac and Cheese still does have playoff experience, especially in his first year coming into New England.
The experience was getting
So-
his dick knocked in by the Buffalo Bills. I don't know if that's
It's still
necessarily.
it's still an experience,
Oh,
and
it's an
Zach Wilson
experience.
didn't make it.
Yeah, oh boy, Brett, I love you, but I don't necessarily know if that's the argument I'm trying to make. But that's okay though, because this has been a very dysfunctional start bench cut because of the mountain of caca that we had to put for our options. There is no winner, there is no loser, because this is literally not even reasonable to choose.
That's
Because
fair.
there's no
That's fair.
winning here. There's no winning here. Go ahead,
No.
Mr.
Hey, Brett, just to analyze you, how does that loss still feel from the Super Bowl in 2018? When we got the quarterback? How does that feel?
Oh,
No matter, and I get a lot from a lot of Patriot fans. Well, Brady did no. We used Saint Nick, to kick your guys' ass in the Super Bowl. And we,
Yeah,
But to your credit, but to your credit, we laid the blueprint down on how to beat New England.
What, to outscore them? You didn't like. Come on, that's completely different.
no,
that's completely different.
Time
That's
out.
completely different.
We laid the blueprint down on how to beat Tom Brady in New England. We put Tom Brady on his back the entire those two Super Bowls. Let's go back, Brett. Super Bowl.
Hold the time the fuck out. Number one, you did not put Brady. Philly did not put Brady on his back. The Giants did. Brady still put up over 500 yards in that Super Bowl. So don't tell me that shit.
In a loss.
Don't tell me that
Right?
shit.
But didn't we strip sack him?
They sure
We did sack him. He just fumbled the ball.
The-
That's
He
all
did
I got.
fail. He
the
did
one-
fail on the
the
Philly
one
special
sack.
duplicate.
The one sack,
Oh, yeah.
he still put up over 500 yards. Yes,
That's
the
what he
Giants put him on his ass. Philly didn't.
It's a
But didn't
bad
it-
That was a high-scoring game.
that he played well in because he played shitty in that Rams one, and he still got the W because of his
Yeah.
defense.
I'll give you a
That first
fucking
half
Philly.
against-
I'll give you a
that
fucking
first-
Philly special right up my fucking ass.
I love this. This is great theater. I don't know how this is going to translate. We might see this and maybe we get canceled, but you know what? We had a great time today. For Mr. Nunez, for Mr. Bandic, for my guy, The Mask, a.k.a. Quentin Moore. I am your host, Richie. We had a great time doing this show, despite some of the challenges outside. Bretsky, call me in about 15 minutes, and maybe we'll make a plan to link up later today. Great job, Daniel. Very proud of you. I know that it's not easy to just jump in front of a camera and do something for the first time, but you were awesome. I do appreciate you, even though I hate your team. Quentin, holler at me later. Bretsky, holler at me later. Great job, boys. We out for now.
Later, boys.